Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Kill la Kill, the series finale, episode 24 review. Damn it, man. It should be 25, it really should, but it's not. So the episode link is going to be in the description box down below, and my live reaction is going to be right above you. Right here. Right here. Okay, so my thoughts on the series finale of Kill la Kill. Alright, like I explained before in the live reaction, it's complicated because I have mixed feelings. And you know what? Let me start here, okay? When it comes to the animation, when it comes to the story progression, when it comes to the pacing, when it comes to character development, those four things, the basics. First of all, story progression, it's over. It's a wrap. It's done. It's done, obviously. So we've made the most story progression possible, unless there's going to be an OVA sometime in the future, which there should be for a lot of reasons. When it comes to the pacing, as usual, very fast paced. We covered a lot of stuff. However, I must point out that even though it was fast-paced, it was only just the fight itself. So it wasn't like we blitzed around, went to all these different locations, and saw... Like, it wasn't a culmination of, like, 15 episodes in one. It was more so, like, 2 or 3. Because it was mainly just a fight. And that was it. So it was slower than norm, but it was still relatively fast-paced. When it comes to the animation, beautiful. When it came to Ragyo actually holding her own heart, and she was like, yeah, and I'll get to that real quick, but when she, and I'm like, yo, it was very nice. I mean, it was messed up in that sense because she committed suicide, but it was, like, animation-wise, it was very nice. When it came to that scene when she was explaining about the truth of the universe, and the light fibers, and the celestial seed, and how, like, when she was taking on Ryuko, we basically see her monologuing, and, like, you see the Earth, you see the sun, you see the galaxies, you see all that stuff. So it was very nice animation when it came to them in space, or I should say the upper atmospheres of the planet, because they're not in the, because it's the satellite, and the satellite is still in geosynchronous orbit around the planet. That means that they're not in the exosphere, so they're in the outer layers of the planet. But overall, it was still very nice to, like, see the covers, like the covers, like the planet was just completely immersed in red, and then how, like, you see, like the giant star where, like, the satellite is. So that overall, when it came to the space bits, very nice animation, and of course the nudity bits, which were everywhere. I had to block so many scenes in this episode. For some reason, they have no nipples. The girls. I mean, maybe because if you put the nipple, all of a sudden, it's, like, really rated 18. Like, oh, nipple, oh, no! So, I don't know, man. I have no idea. So, it's whatever. That's the way it is. And when it came to the character development, I can't really judge it from just this one episode. And maybe if I do an overview of the entire series, it's going to be more... No, it will be. It will be more distinct. But when it comes to character development, from an overall standpoint, Kiryu and Satsuki has the most, by far. Among all the characters there, she has the most. And I do want to point out that among the Elite Four, Gamagori and Sanagayama have the most. When it comes to Ryuko herself, Ryuko, she had character development, but a lot of it was mainly finding out new stuff about her. Like finding out that her father was in fact married to Ragyo, making Ragyo her mom. She was the baby that was supposed to be dead, but he saved her and took her in. He posed and had a new identity as Matoi Ishin. She has life fibers inside her body. Senketsu comprises of her DNA, and so on and so forth. So her character development is mainly along those lines, just finding new things about her. But when it comes to an actual transition of character, Sasuke has the most by far. That to me, I think, is very obvious. Now, when it comes to, and there's some here and there with Sumigu, not really a lot for Aikuro, but it's amongst the nudist beach guys. I think Sumugu has the most character development because you have to consider what happened when they first met, Sumugu and Ryuko. Like, he was like on some Terminator status, and he wasn't stopping until the mission was done. RoboCop over here. But that, of course, changed after seeing Ryuko and who she was, and you know, the Kamui, so all that stuff. So when it comes to character development, I think I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Because when it comes to, and I want to single out the villains, all right? When it comes to the villains, so let me start here. Aside from the main 4 things, let me go to the villains first. When it comes to Nui Harume, I was very surprised that she killed herself. I'm like, no fucking way, dude. Like, she offs herself for the sake of removing her body or giving up her body to the original life fiber and being a part of the culmination of consciousness that is the life fibers. So that to me just shocked me. I'm like, yeah, what the no way. But she did. I'm like, no, fuck. God damn it, man, because to me, Nui Harume had so much hype when it came to regards of her being more significant in combat when it came to certain individuals. Like her versus Ryuko. People were anticipating her versus Mako. Like just those two duking it out. And Mako killing Nui Harume. That didn't happen. Of course, there was the Satsuki versus Nui Harume. Never happened. Well, it never actually, like, that final battle, no. She kills herself. So, and it kind of along the same lines as Ragyo. But in Nui Harume's case, she gets rid of her own body, and then her consciousness joins the life fibers. So, in that sense, she wasn't dead. But her body was, of course, gone. Now, when it comes to Ragyo, I think this is going to be a general consensus among the Kill la Kill fans that Ragyo is a phenomenal villain. Alright, I think it is undeniable. The fact that Ragyo decided to kill herself, she wanted no redemption. She was going to go out the way she wanted to go out, on her terms. And you have to keep in mind that all this time, her mission, her lifelong mission, that she spent I don't know how many years, was to complete this plan, the covers. As a Kiryuin, that was her duty. And the fact that she succeeded momentarily in completing her goal, the pinnacle of her ecstasy, and the fact that Ryuko, her own daughter, comes in there and completely butchers the plan fails. She had nowhere else to go in that sense. It's not like she would have been accepted by humans. It's not like she could just run off into space and do stuff. No. And the fact that, like the real kicker here, was the fact that after the covers, after Ryuko, she takes over, and I'll get to that too, when she takes over the sheer obedience, and how she tells the life fibers, you know, humans are humans, clothing are clothing, and like the life fibers, they disappear because they have no more energy from their hosts, the humans. Ragyo had lost the battle, but only the battle. So when she goes to her chest, she takes out her heart. She explains how there are still life fibers within the universe, and they will return here. And the best part about this was that there was no flashback about how she was a little girl and how her daddy told her this or her mom told her this and the life fiber said do this. And no. There was no redemption. There was no justification. This was who she was. And before she goes out, I lost the battle. But the war is far from over. Sayonara. Yeah. That to me, I'm like, that's good. The way she went out solidifies herself as being a phenomenal villain. She really is. I'm not denying that. So, props to Ragyo. Props to Kiryuin Ragyo. Now, when it comes to the third villain, Homaru, what happened? Out of all the villains, Homaru is the most obscure. We don't know anything about Homaru. Homaru is a character where we should know a lot about, but we don't. We know nothing about her past. We know nothing about why she's doing what she's doing. We don't know what her body makeup is because she is unique in her body makeup, and how the fact that when she was taken out of Shinra Koketsu, Ragyo powered down extremely. Why is that? Like, what's so special about Homaru? And I think that's the reasons why I believe that there's going to be like an OVA of some kind. Because Homaru, to me, is someone who, she's still there. She's not dead. She's still there. So, that to me has to be explained in further detail. It just has to be. Now, when it comes to Satsuki, Kiryu and Satsuki, this, I think, had to be one of the most disappointing things because of the fact that when you take a look at the overall story, when you take a look at the opening as well, there were these hints that Satsuki was going to gain some kind of awakening when it comes to Junketsu. I mean, we even heard Junketsu yell at some point. Like, when, again, Ryuko rips off Junketsu, and then we hear Junketsu yelling, like a faint yell. And my problem here is that Junketsu had this consciousness, and Junketsu is a Kamui. Therefore, Junketsu has the same potential as Senketsu. But why is it that Junketsu was simply used as another part of the Goku uniforms to give Ryuko her Super Saiyan-like power-up? Like, what was that all about? Like, to me, given the context of what we saw in the entire series, about Junketsu, about Satsuki herself, including the opening, the second opening, where when you look behind Ryuko, we see both eyes open of Senketsu, which actually occurred in this episode. But when you look behind Satsuki, there were like these two rows, or these two columns of three eyes. And you're thinking, okay, so Satsuki, she's clearly going to awaken something in Junketsu. No, that doesn't happen at all. So that, to me, I think was very disappointing. Even though Satsuki has the best character development by far among the cast of Kill la Kill, the way I see things, the thing here is that at the end of the day, she was just support for her younger sister. And that, to me, I thought was actually very disappointing. I'll be very honest. So, Satsuki needed a lot more work. She did. And, I mean, that's also another reason why there should be an OVA. To give Satsuki what she deserves when it comes to a hype standpoint, when it comes to a, you know, someone who should have been there to assist her sister when it came to the space battle between her and her mother. So that, I think, deserves an OVA just because of that reason alone, but also because of Homaru as well. Now, when it comes to the Elite Four, fascinating turn of events. Gamagori now appears to be like the head guy of Elite Four. And this, to me, I think goes against the trend, because the trend, it appeared as if like Sanagama was like the best one of the Elite Four. It really did, because he had the whole like eye thing going on, where he could like hear the world. After he got his Mach 2 regalia, he spanked Ryuko, literally and figuratively. He beat the shit out of her. It was no mercy, no hold bar. The only reason why he didn't beat her was because his own Goku uniform powered down. It couldn't handle him. His own Goku uniform couldn't handle him. Furthermore, when you take a look at the Mach 3 version that he had, his Mach 3 and himself, after Ragyo takes over Honyuji Academy, he's the only Goku uniform wearer, 3-star, that is remaining at that point in time. So, there were a lot of these hints. I mean, he even countered Ragyo's moves. There were so many hints that led to the belief, or this assumption, that Sanagama was the most powerful of the Elite Four. But apparently it ends off with Gamagori being the most powerful one, because he was the one who actually ripped through the sound pulse barrier thing, to make it simple, as Mako did, the rubber barrier, rubber, and he ripped through that, Then he pulls a Tengen Toppa, has like a gunman thing going on here. You know, like here we have Shimon on top, we have Kamina as the main body, and the main body fires with these face beams. So I'm like, yo, like it threw me off, but I'm not gonna complain that much because it is something that it goes against the flow of what was dictated beforehand, but I kind of do like it. So that's something that I'll leave alone, but because I do like it. Now, when it comes to, because Nuni's Beach didn't have anything really, they really didn't. Nui Harime I already talked about. We had the Homaru stuff, which I already talked about. Of course, Ragyo. Okay, alright, fine. So let me talk about this. Ryuko. And I want to end it on this. There we go. Okay. I'm going to end on this. Ryuko. The scissor blade bit, and the fact that the scissor blade wasn't able to actually harm Ragyo makes perfect sense. Because in that sense, her sheer obedience gave her dominance over most of life fibers. Not all, most. Because she even points out that Nui Harime, her life fibers were so strong where her sheer obedience didn't actually work on her nor Ryuko. But the life fibers couldn't actually harm Ragyo when it came to the life fibers inside the scissor blade. And that makes perfect sense. What threw me off, though, was this concept, and it's been hinted at. It's been hinted at throughout the entire series, where Ryuko absorbs the life fibers, like the small little threads, like the Banshee. Like, I think it was Imori, I think his name is, who pointed it out. Where when Ryuko absorbs the life fibers, the last one that actually goes is the Banshee. And this is something that's been hinted at significantly in the entire story. Don't get me wrong. But to all of a sudden make it the foundation as to why Ryuko can beat Ragyo, it seems like an ass pull. It really does. I'm not going to deny it. Because this is something that has been, she's always been able to beat her opponents with the scissor blade. And Ragyo, who is someone who is, in a sense, transcended the norm to the point where she can have obedience over most life fibers. I would have figured that there would have been a more, there would have been a more absolute way to beat her, as opposed of just, okay, I'm going to take blows, but I'm going to absorb you because I have this thing called infinite absorption where I can absorb an infinite amount of life fibers, apparently. And I can gain the power of the life fibers. So then think about it. This brings in the question. If Ryuko can gain the powers of the life fibers, then how come she never gained the powers of the other people? Like, for example, when the first episode, when she beat the, Fukurata, the boxing club captain, how come she never gained boxing gloves? How come she didn't gain the powers of that when it came to Sanagayama and how he beat her? She beat him the first time round, and she absorbed his Banshee. How come she never gained his powers? And so on and so forth. I mean, here we have the scene where she gains the powers of sheer obedience because she absorbs the life fibers directly from Shinra Koketsu. So how come this didn't apply to the other Goku uniforms that have their own unique powers? That is something that I think has to be explained in third. Well, it's not going to be explained because it's already over, but it's just very odd in that aspect. And the fact that her father, or Ishin Matoi, or his Soroichi, something like that, his real name, the fact that that was the main plan. The main plan wasn't to use the scissor blade as a means of killing someone like Ragyo. The main plan was to make Ryuko like this sentient being when it comes to respects of the life fibers themselves by being able to infinitely absorb life fibers and gaining their power. So, because we've seen Ryuko become stronger over the course of the series simply by her emotions, by her will, and it was probably also because she was absorbing life fibers on a regular basis, or at least Senketsu was. But it was never distinctly defined that she'd also gain their powers as well until the final episode. So that, to me, it throws me off. It really does. And I don't really know where to go with that. So, the episode rating overall. I like the episode. I do. It has parts that are phenomenal. Again, Ragyo. Holy shit. Whoa. Whoa, Ragyo. Get out of here. She's phenomenal. Woo! Woo! So, I'm digging Ragyo heavy. The animation was on point. And I gotta love the character development of Kiryu and Satsuki as a whole. And the surprising scenes when it came to the Elite Four as well were also, you know, like they were very nice scenes too, animation-wise. And the fact that Gamagori is not like the head honcho, like he's like the numero uno. How they put in some things from Tengen Toppa, and how they actually referred back to the old episode when it came to him in particular, where he came down like, like that was nasty. I can't deny that. But there are things I don't like as well. The fact that there are some things left open, like Kohomaru and where she stands. The fact that there were things that were hinted, not only in the opening, but also throughout the entire course of the series. When it comes to Junketsu and Satsuki, and how Junketsu is just another power-up for the Super Saiyan mode of Ryuko. And I'm also need to point out that her concept of gaining powers is also very Super Saiyan-like as well. Or very Saiyan-like, Saiji. Where in which the more she dies, quote-unquote, and the more she recovers, the stronger she becomes. Very Saiyan-like. Very Saiyan-like. I'm like, jeez, whoa. Holy shit. Oh, Cadre up the wazoo. So, I mean, is it a ripoff? I wouldn't go that far because it's very different in a lot of ways too, but its foundation is very, very similar. So, that being said, and I've already mentioned a lot of things too, so I'm not going to go in full detail about what I don't like or what I do like. But you guys, I think, understand where I'm coming from here. And because of those reasons, I'm going to give this episode finale, this series finale, a rating of a good. Good plus, because, you know, good plus. Why not? Fuck it, trigger. Good plus. But that's as far as I'm going to go. Because it should have been a yo. It really should have. But there are certain things where I'm like, and other things where I'm like, yeah! Woo! So, it is what it is. So I'm done. I will see you guys next time. Because I doubt it's going to be... I believe that there should be something. I mean, I'll let you guys know in the future in like an update video sometime. But that being said, for now, my Kill la Kill brethren, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Take it easy. The rating is good. Peace. Have a nice one.